want to give you a quick tour of the W3Schools tutorials. This is a great website full of resources for different web technologies. It's located at W3Schools.com. For our class, I think the HTML and CSS sections will be most interesting. You click on one of the sections and you have a table of contents here that you can scroll around and click on any of the topics you're interested in. Here's HTML paragraphs, the P tag, which we've already covered, with some examples, and it shows you how they're used in HTML pages, how you might use them in your assignments. One interesting thing that this website provides is this try it yourself option. When you click on this, it's going to open up a little playground area where you can experiment with the HTML code on this side and then see what happens, what your changes do over here in kind of a little mini browser. So we've got these paragraphs all set up. If I remove some of the text and click on Run, we can see the change here. Now that's not real exciting, but in some of the more complex things, like when we get into tables, it's going to be very handy to be able to experiment over here and see the results here. Now, one difference between this and using VS Code in Live Server is the resources that you have here in W3Schools not only provides you a little area to try things out, but it explains things and shows you options. Once you get into actually taking what you've learned here and put it into VS Code, then the live server is going to help you experiment and change things and see if it's looking the way that you want it to look. So I think both tools are going to be really handy to help you understand some of the details, or maybe try to figure out why something's not working the way that you want it to. You can see we've got all kinds of resources here. We'll be talking about links, colors, tables, things like that. So there's quite a few things in here that we're going to be using, and there's a whole bunch more that may come in handy if you do other HTML and CSS work. Now, in addition to the HTML section, there's the CSS section, and it's the same thing. We've got all these different options that we can look at. So let's say backgrounds, and so we can get some information more than what we've talked about in the video tutorials, some other type of background settings, and then some examples. And just like on the HTML page, we can go in, make modifications, run it, and see what happens. So you can still have the option here to play around in the try it little browser to make sure that you understand what it's doing. You can switch back here and read up and understand why something's working or not working here. So in addition to all the different options that they have here under CSS, there's one that will be handy, particularly when you're getting started. All the way down at the bottom, there's a section called References, and there's a reference page on colors. So we've talked about background color and then the text color, color property. This is a page that shows you the standard color names along with a swatch of the actual color on the page. So this is a great place for you to come if you're picking out colors for your background or maybe your text, that you can look here and just see on a web browser exactly what the page is going to look like. And you can decide, does dark red look good? Maybe you're looking for something more like this, and just give you a great idea of what options that you have and which variations of, like blues. There's lots of different blues here, so you can find one that works for you. You can do the same thing in VS Code by looking at the list that VS Code provides, and you can select while you're filling in your CSS element. However, this shows you all of them all in one place at the same time. So this is a nice resource to go look at. So definitely take a look at that as you're designing your pages.